Yes.
I was just on the. I mean, I just took a couple of minutes just to take a phone call from Rick Santorum, who's calling into the control room now. He's going to be on in a second. Hang on just a second. Senator Rick Santorum is on the phone with us. Senator, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm up here in New Hampshire and just finished an event in Manchester and heading up to Northfield, which is up in the beautiful Lakes region here in New Hampshire. And we had a crowd last night in Brentwood. 300 people jammed into a place. They were out the doors. They had a wonderful response, people signing up, people coming by our headquarters dropping off checks. We got folks coming and volunteering. We can't even keep them in our headquarters is just jammed with folks. There's a real energy and enthusiasm up here. And for folks, I just remind everybody. So people say, oh, well, New Hampshire, it's a liberal state. It's a liberal Republicans. And Romney's, lived up there, and Huntsman's lived up there. Let me just say this. Back in 1980, Iowa chose George H.W. Bush, and New Hampshire chose Reagan. Without New Hampshire, we wouldn't have had Ronald Reagan. And so I just want to say, I believe in the people of New Hampshire. They're going to look for someone who is going to be bold enough to do the things that are necessary to put this country back on the right course of our founders' vision of this country. This is a live free or die state. They understand how our basic freedoms are at stake. They understand that Mitt Romney is for government-run health care and Wall Street bailouts and cap and trade and top-down. And I believe the live free or die state's going to make a statement on Tuesday.
Well, I will tell you that if you even have a really good showing in New Hampshire, I think that would be astounding just based on really Romney has lived there. Literally, and almost lived there recently. I mean, he's really been he's kind of doing the Rudy Giuliani strategy that Rudy Giuliani did in Florida last time and lost. But Romney thought, forget Iowa, let's really pay attention to New Hampshire. So if you even place there, that's pretty remarkable.
How I feel about it. I do too. And I mean, we started out, there's a poll that was out, I guess, yesterday. Now, this was pre-Iowa, that had Romney at 43 and us at 4. So that's the starting point, 43 to 4.
Wow.
And let's see how the next polls look like, and let's see what happens coming up after these debates this weekend. And we have an opportunity to draw the contrast nicely but firmly.
Okay. Go ahead.
Where were you 2 months ago in Iowa in the polls? Do you remember? Weren't you?
Yeah, 3, 4, or 5.
Isn't that amazing? And you wound up at 25%. That's phenomenal. Now I heard a stat yesterday.
You said 2 months ago. I was there a month ago. I was actually there 3 weeks ago.
That's true. I heard a stat yesterday, and I don't know if this is true. I thought I'd check with you. I heard that you spent $22,000 in Iowa. Is that possible?
Oh, come on. That's exaggerating.
Is it?
No, you're talking about on television? No, we spent more than that. We spent $30,000.
So you spent $30,000, and Romney spent something like the stat I heard was $1.5 million, and you tied him. I mean, that is astounding to me. Astounding.
Well, I mean, I heard this. Terry Branstad and Chuck Grassley told me this from the very beginning when I first got there. They said you can't buy Iowa. And you know what? You can't buy New Hampshire. I don't know how much time you spent up here in the state of New Hampshire. Just about everybody in New Hampshire is an elected official. I mean, you run for everything up here. I mean, your state legislature, there's 400 of them in New Hampshire, and they get paid $100 a year. Mm. So everybody's been a state rep. I mean, you meet a former state rep. It's citizen participation on steroids up here in New Hampshire. Everybody does politics here. And so the idea that people are just going to listen to TV ads and listen to what the national media says or what the national poll said, that is not New Hampshire. And I've been up there. This is my 31st visit. I've done over 100 town hall meetings. We have a great base of support up here, and it's building every day, and we feel very comfortable that the citizen participants up here in New Hampshire are going to do what's necessary to make sure that our country turns around, and they're going to give us a little bump. I have no expectations, 39 points behind with 5 days to go, that we're going that we're going to,
Yeah, but you're only 39 points behind.
I'm only 39 points behind.
I mean, who can't close a 39-point gap in 5 days?
Yeah, come on.
Just think 7 points a day.
That's all.
It's a 7
That's
a day.
all we're asking for. You're not a 7%er?
I mean, it's not just us going up; it's him coming down. So I don't have to make up the whole difference. I just have to make up half of it.
Right.
That's
Okay.
You got to look at these the glass half full kind of deal.
Rick, I'd like to spend an hour with you on television if you have time. We'd like to bring you in and bring you on television and really spend, because now you are I'm sorry, but Newt Gingrich is a nightmare. And I happen to agree with Rush Limbaugh that he's now in it only to destroy Mitt Romney. And I just think the guy has nefarious purposes, and I don't like him at all. But anyway, you're the guy. It's either going to be you or Mitt Romney, I really think. And I told you, I think it was 7 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago, that you might be Winston Churchill. I've been saying for a while, where is Winston Churchill? You might be that guy. Based solely on this, you have said from ever since I've known you exactly what you believe. You have done the right thing, and you have taken the hits. If somebody disagrees with you, and sometimes I have with you, you've done something that you're like, what are you doing there? You've stated the reason why you did it, and you took the hit and didn't blame it on anybody else. That's what Churchill did. They ran him out of town before Hitler took power, and then they begged him to come back. You think there's a possibility that you are fulfilling a hole here, or filling a hole here that America has been screaming for and looking for, that all of a sudden you could pop up and be that guy?
Well, I shrink at comparing myself to a huge historical figure like Winston Churchill. So if we can put the Churchill relationship away, because that's a little lofty for me. I'm a huge Churchill fan and wouldn't even say my name in the same breath. So let me just say this, that they did run me out of town in Pennsylvania, and I lost by a lot. But as you know, because we did a ton of interviews during that time, and you were saying words like Churchill back then, but they didn't want to hear it. I was out there talking about Iran, and I was out there talking about winning in Iraq at the time when people say we needed to leave and tuck tail and take our lumps and get out, and it wasn't popular. And I understand that, and I took the lumps, but I didn't give up, and I went out there and worked on national security issues for the last 5 years at a think tank, and wrote about it and lectured all over the country, at college campuses even, on radical Islam and the threat of Iran in particular. And now here we are. And look at Iran. Look at what they're on the precipice of. In a sense, we're at this moment. Everyone thinks the economy is the number one issue, and it is. But the President of the United States, of course, while they can have some impact in the economy, runs the national security of our country. That's what the President does. That's his constitutional duty. And having someone, I think, as the nominee of our party who's gotten it right on these issues at a time when I think national security may be the biggest issue going into the fall election, given what is possible in Iran between now and November.
Rick, now that the media has noticed you, now that they see that you are in fact a force to be dealt with, the demonization process has already begun. Are you prepared to deal with it? How will you deal with all this?
This isn't my first rodeo. I've been, you guys.
I don't know if you know this. This isn't a rodeo. It's a presidential election.
No, I'm sorry.
That might be
I'm a rodeo clown. I know rodeos.
So, I've been on this horse, and I've been bucked around, and they've shaved me down pretty well, and I feel very comfortable. I do believe that what I'm fighting for is, I believe what I say. It's, that what people may not believe what I believe, but they know that I believe what I believe. And I think that's really an important thing, that these folks are going to go and hit me. They're going to say, oh, you said this, and you can't be this extreme. And I'll say, well, I did say this. I'm not extreme, and here's why. And these make sense. And I will defend them, because they are at the heart of what the American experiment is all about, their values. They are what built this country, and whether it's family or faith and all of those things that I'm going to be hammered on, because I'm going to be hammered as this social conservative that's out of the mainstream. What I'm reflecting are, yes, marriage is between a man and a woman, and yes, we shouldn't have courts dictating to us what new rights and rights people have that trample over the right of people to decide collectively what our morality is. Those are things that I will fight for, and I'm not going to back away because I think it's right for the country.
Rick, I'm running so far behind, and I've got to stay on the clock, and I know you have to run as well. But I would like to get a commitment from you that we could spend some serious time, because now that you're a contender, there are a lot of questions about. I think everybody knows where you are conservative-wise on social issues, but where are you on the scope and the size of government? And I'd like to get down to some brass tacks with you. Would you? Can we find a time in your schedule to do that?
I'd love to do that. I'm going to be obviously here in New Hampshire.
I know that.
And I don't know if you can do it on a remote. I'll be happy to if we can do it on a remote. As far as trying to get the.
I understand. Tougher. You got it. We'll work it out somewhere or another. I just want to see if you can carve some time out one way or another.
Glenn, I will carve time out for you. You've been you've given me the opportunity to come on your show and to and come on your television show when you had when no one else was giving me that opportunity, and I will always remember that. And I can tell you, when I say ricksantorum.com when I'm on your radio program, our numbers go through the charts.
When you said what?
Through the
when you
ricksantorum.com.
ricksantorum.com.
If you had an easier name to spell, you'd probably make more money.
Have you ever thought of Smith? Rick Smith?
Just rick.com.
Yeah, well, go to glennbeck.com. Put a link up there. Make it easy.
Yeah, right. Okay, Rick, congratulations and God bless you.
Thank you. You too, buddy.
All right,
Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you again.